Okay, guys, we're joined by Sean Kelly, who is the host of Storage Hunters and also Storage Hunters, which is coming to the UK. I believe, is it October 28th on Dave?
Yeah, that's right. October 28th, they're going to air 2 episodes, one at 8 o'clock and one at 8:30.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, for those who are not familiar with it, I mean, it's kind of hard to imagine because sort of this Storage Hunters has become sort of like a phenomenon. But do you want to tell everyone a little bit about the show?
Absolutely. So basically, if you haven't seen the show, it's a lot of fun. It's where they kind of feature my storage auctions. My style of auctioneering is kind of high energy, kind of in your face, real kind of raw and gritty. So it's a little bit different than what most people are used to as far as auctioneering goes. The people that we always feature on the show are very, interesting people that have a lot of experience selling secondhand goods. And then what's really cool about I think what's kind of fun about the show is that when you go to a storage auction, if you've never been, the door opens up. You got a couple minutes to assess it. Then we start the bidding. It's kind of a blind bidding. If you don't know what you're doing, you're gambling. And even if you do kind of know what you're doing, you're still gambling a bit. And then after the final price, we go into the bin and we kind of see what you got and do like a price assessment and see whether or not you made money, lost money. So it's kind of fun.
Cool. I mean, is the US version quite different to the upcoming UK version? I mean, is there a lot of difference in it, or is it a similar sort of format? Because, is it much different?
I would say that it is very, very, very close to the U.S. format. I mean, What changes is that obviously the people that are in attendance are Brits. But one of the things I really appreciated about what UK TV did was they decided that the people that they would feature and follow during the show are people who really are working in the secondhand resale business. Yeah. So, like one couple, Matt and John, they own a secondhand store up north. Several of them sell at car boot sales. Some of them are antiques dealers. So these are people that really do have a strong working knowledge of secondhand items and the values, and so it was fun to be exposed to people who really had knowledge of what this stuff sells for and what it goes for here in the UK.
Oh, yeah. Steve?
So, Sean, great to talk to you. Thanks for coming on the show. I just wondered, is there much difference between what you're finding in the UK storage lockers compared to the American?
Yeah, so again, I really wasn't quite sure what to expect. In your mind, you think, you're going to find maybe like some great antiques, that kind of stuff. And the truth of the matter is that in the UK, 40% of all the storage units are rented out by businesses, and so you have a pretty high percentage of business storage. So it's what we call in the auction business a business in a box, where if someone defaults on their storage unit and they were in some kind of business, a lot of times you're pretty much getting all the inventory. So found that kind of stuff was neat. There was one item that we found here in the UK I'd never had seen in the storage unit ever before, which was a hovercraft. And it was from a company that rented out hovercrafts for people to go on hovercraft rides, and they had gone bankrupt. And so I actually, they don't show it on the show, but I had a chance to drive a hovercraft. It was bizarre because I'm driving this hovercraft and I'm thinking to myself, I need to own a hovercraft. This is awesome.
Excellent. I mean,
perks of the job.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever had a sort of an auction that sort of turned sour on you, that are sort of like they've had to turn off the cameras, sort of halfway through and sort of like calm the situation down?
There has been some explosive moments over the years where people have just can't stand it anymore. Like that someone is just getting on their nerves. But because it's reality television, good luck trying to get them to turn the cameras off. Once those cameras start rolling, well, the rule is, once those cameras start rolling, they don't stop. Regardless of what happens, it's like being with like a news crew out in the field. You know what I mean? Once that it starts filming, they film. One of the things I've always really appreciated about first in the U.S. and then they followed up with it here in the U.K. was the mantra was pretty much, hey, listen, just try to forget that the cameras are there. Just go about doing what you do, say what you say, act the way you're going to act. Be natural, and just be yourself. And so I have really enjoyed that about this show, because sometimes when companies make these shows and people are on camera, they act one way when the cameras are rolling, and they act another way when the cameras are off. Well, what's cool about our show is that I was always given the freedom to just kind of be myself there, like say whatever you want, do whatever you want. And, and so I never felt like I had to have any filters, which was great.
Okay. See?
Yeah, the show as a whole is a really unique, interesting concept. How did the show come about, and how did you get involved in it?
So I was living down in San Diego, California, and I had been doing stand-up comedy and also doing charity fundraising auctions as an auctioneer. Okay. And a friend invited me to go to a storage auction. The friend who invited me was actually the guy who owned the facility, and I had to have him explain it to me because I had never heard of them before. Even though I was an auctioneer, I had never heard of storage auctions. So I went, and I was like, this is awesome. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was watching people get storage units for $200, and one item inside there could be worth $200, and everything else was pure profit. And I just thought, I can't believe that this exists. And I thought, I'm going to do this. So then I started doing my own storage auctions. And then I thought, you know what? I think other people would enjoy this. So I hired a guy to come videotape it, and I sent the videotape to a production company, and that led to becoming Storage Hunters.
Oh, wow.
Fantastic.
That's actually brilliant. I didn't know that.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Sean. We'll we won't keep you any longer. Obviously, as said, Storage Hunters UK starts October 28th on Dave. Make sure you all tune in and watch that. Do you have a Twitter, or is there a Storage UK's Hunters UK?
Absolutely. So if you guys don't mind, I'll tell people about this. I've got my Twitter, which is at Sean Kelly Comedy, and Sean is SEAN, and then Kelly KELLY Comedies. And then I got a couple things that are coming up in the UK. In December 3rd, 4th, and 5th, I'll be doing an antiques auction, selling antique weapons in front of the British, at a facility right near the British Museum. That's December 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So they can watch my Twitter for that. And in February, I'm performing at the Leicester Comedy Festival. And then beyond that, I'm going to be going out and doing auctions and stand-up comedy around the UK next year.
Oh, fantastic. We look forward to that. Well, thanks for joining us, Sean, and we look forward to Storage Hunters UK on October 28th.
I just have to ask
Thanks, you guys.
Before you go, sorry, I just have to ask, what is the weirdest thing you've ever pulled out of one of these storage lockers?
Do you want to really hear what the weirdest thing is?
Yes.
All right. You asked, so I'm gonna tell you. There was a guy who had paid on his storage unit $125 a month for 6 years, and then all of a sudden his credit card stopped working, and they hadn't seen the guy since he had leased it. And so after a few months, they put it up for auction. We cut the lock, and it was the first time anybody had come in there in 6 years. And the only thing that was inside that storage unit was a mason jar filled with urine.
Oh.
And at that moment, I realized that crazy people rent storage units. Because the thing is if you think about it, when you go to rent a storage unit, it's not like you have to take some kind of test to make sure you're not crazy. So for whatever reason, this crazy dude felt like he had to store this jar of urine for 6 years at a cost of $125 a month. And that's when I realized there are some lunatics out there.
Yeah, I imagine it Didn't smell very nice when it opened.
No, but you asked. That was
Oh.
to me. That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, God.
Did anyone bid on it?
No, I would say that was an immediate no sale. There was another time in Palm Springs where we had boa constrictors in there, snakes,
Whoa.
and that was kind of weird.
Oh, cool.
Okay, random.
It also seemed a little inhumane because Palm Springs is so hot,
It's like a little
and
oven.
then these
I
big
suppose.
metal storage containers seems ridiculous to put snakes in there. But yeah, what I've learned is that it's amazing what people will store. I mean, just blow your mind. I think the coolest stuff is when you come across a person that was a collector and they had an amazing collection. I recently did one down in San Diego about 3 weeks ago. I did 90 units at one facility all in one day. And inside one of them was a huge Howard Stern collection. This person was like a Howard Stern fanatic. And they had, do you guys know who Howard Stern is?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so this guy had collected everything ever that Howard Stern's face had been printed on. I mean, you name it, hats, plates, cups, T-shirts, flyers, Frisbees. I mean, he had thousands of items with Howard Stern. It was crazy.
Yeah, it is strange. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't imagine sort of like the value of stuff like that going up really over time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Sean, and we'll let you get on with your day.
Great. It was my pleasure. Thanks, you guys. I appreciate your time.